Hi kids, today I'm going to show you how to make a pinch pot from the clay and your art and discovery kit. Before you get started, it's a good idea to make yourself this one pottery tool, and that's a potter's rib. If your parents have old credit cards or store cards, you're good to go. Just use one of those. Or you can take the cover of a yogurt container or something similar and just cut it in half and then cut away the rim. And you can make any kind of shape you want here. So in your kit, you're going to have this nice piece of clay. But before you even open that, you're going to want to go outside and find some plant materials. And some good ones to use for this project would be a fern, leaves, oak, maple, beech, birch, all work well. Pine needles will work really well for this. Different kinds of pines. You've got kind of the balsam pine. You've got the long needle pines. This is one of my favorite. This is a weed that grows outside, and it's called crown vetch, and it's got a pretty little purple flower and this really neat little leaf here with a tiny little tendril on the end. They work really good. You can also get some wildflowers. I've got a daisy, and I've got some hawkweed. Okay, so let's get started. We'll set these aside. You want to pick these things just before you're going to make your pot. So set all of these things aside for now. And to make the pot, we don't need to use the whole bunch for now. We're going to just use half of it. So I'm going to take out half. And you don't have to, you can use even less than that. It's up to you. You might be able to make 2 or 3 pots from this clay. So we're going to take this and we're going to kind of slap it into a ball shape and roll it. And slap it and roll it and slap it and roll it. And you can even roll it down on the surface here to get it nice and round and smooth, okay? So once you have your ball nice and round, all right, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push right into the middle. And you're going to go down so that you're about this far away from the bottom, right? It's about that far right here. And then you're going to start to go pinch right around the very bottom. Pinch, pinch, pinch. And you just have to keep pinching around. And when it's about this thick, when the clay wall is about that thick, that's as thick as you want to be. All right, so you just finish the bottom. You got to finish the bottom part first. All right, you go round and around. You finish the bottom part first. Okay, now we're going to change it up a little bit. So you've got the bottom is all thinned out and you've got this really thick rim. So now I'm going to take my thumb and see how I pull my thumb up. And I'm just cradling the pot in my hand and I'm just pulling up with my thumb. Okay, and you go all the way around. You do that. So, all right, we got that one. Okay, now see how that crack is there? Now we can come back in, which every once in a while you go back in, you go all around your rim and you smooth all those little cracks and things, okay? Smooth all those little cracks. Okay, and then we're going to go back around it and we're going to do that again. We'll do that one more time. All the way around. So now you've got, the wall is about that thick, right? You want the wall to be about that thick, a little thinner than what a pencil would be. Okay? So that's what it looks like so far. Now, to finish this rim, I don't want, if I keep pinching, it's going to just get wider and wider and wider. So I'm going to come in, I'm holding it and kind of squeezing it because I want this to come up, right? I want it to come up. I don't want it to just be flat. So I'm going to kind of squeeze the rims. See, I'm holding on both sides of the rim and then just kind of squeezing in. And you just keep going around like that. See now the shape? It's going up. But now I'm going to come back in again with my thumb and do that same thing. I'm going to do this pulling action like this with my thumb. So we'll come back and we'll do that again. I'm going to pull that clay up into shape. Okay. Then I'm going to do this. So, okay, that's good. I'm going to do it one more time all the way around. Okay. And now I'm going to come back. I'm going to smooth that rim again. Make it nice and even. Go all the way. Now, just a word to the wise. Once you set this, if you're working like this down on the thing, what's going to happen, and you can do that, what's going to happen is you're going to get a flat bottom. And I really don't want a little bit of a bottom now is okay, but I really don't want a flat bottom. So, now we're getting ready to put our plant materials against this. But what we want to do is, we're going to kind of roll this so we can smooth it off. Just kind of rolling it and rolling it. And then I'm going to roll around the base. Okay. So that's one way to do that. The best way to really smooth the surface of your pot is to use that pottery rib that you made from the cover of the yogurt containers. Using it to smooth the surface. I'm just going around and around, and I'm holding on the inside with my fingers to create pressure. Now see, you'll have these cracks. It always happens, and the best way is to just push across the crack. Just kind of smooth across the crack, and then you can use the rib, and that will help out too. So between the bigger cracks, you might have to use your finger and the rib. So you want to smooth all the way around on the pot. The last step to finishing your pot will be smoothing the rim. So you just go right around to smooth the top of your rim and make it nice and even. The pot is now ready to press in plant material. I'm starting with the long pine needles, and I using the ruler to kind of roll it in, but it tends to pop out. So I'm going to change my strategy up a little. Now I'm going to take the fern, but I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to place the fern and then kind of roll it onto the work surface. So I'm getting rid of the excess, pinched off the excess, and now I'm carefully putting it down there. And from the inside, I'm just kind of working my fingers in, pushing it. I don't want to over squeeze it. I just want to make sure that the fern gets pressed in there pretty well. So that's going to work, I think, better for this. Now I'm not worried about the shape getting a little flattened. Might actually make it kind of interesting, but it's soft enough so I'll easily be able to put it back into shape. So the last thing I'm going to do is put on at least one flower. So I'm going to use that daisy. I'm just laying it on the surface, and now I'm just going to kind of roll the pot right over into it. Same thing, I'm going to push my fingers down in there and just really work all the way around. I've turned it so you can see. So I've got my fingers in there. I'm just pressing all the way around that flower. Not super hard, because I don't want to make the wall any thinner, but I just want to make sure the flower's pressed in nicely. It's finished. So now we just have to let it dry. I am going to I'm tapping the bottom a little bit, putting just a little bit of a groove in there. It will sit a lot better if it has that little bit of a groove. And then I'm tapping it just a little bit to create the base of the pot, so it'll sit nice and level. So now just putting it back into shape, I'm going to let it dry. And we just leave the plant material right in there, and after it dries, we gently remove.